Welcome back to the Stogie Geek Show. This is Paul, and I'm here to tell you about our fabulous sponsors, Mr. J. Havana's Smoke Shop. That's right, OceanStateCigars.com. Mr. J. Havana's is where you can get all your fine premium hand-rolled cigars. Well, and not so premium hand-rolls as well, if you're into that kind of thing. They got everything there, from the latest limited releases all the way down to all your regular production smokes. So make sure you check them out and visit OceanStateCigars.com for all the J. Grotto series cigars. Also want to mention the Havana Cigar Club. You can go to our website, print off a $5 off coupon. That's Havana Cigar Club right here in Warwick, Rhode Island. Great place to have a drink and a cigar. Let's see. We wanted to give you an update on our KNF Lancero. I'll go around, Mr. Mark Jr. Stogie Santa had to leave. Mark Jr. and Will are still here, and I want to hear your thoughts on the KNF Lancero.
These are not built to disappoint. They are. Mine's smoking fantastically. It had a little bit of a void, which is the first one out of any of these that I've ever had, but it was a very small one. It rectified itself very quickly.
Wrecked him, damn near killed him.
It's
sorry.
It's a fine representation of Nicaraguan Ligero tobacco. It's a little bit, it's peppery and delicious. It's earthy. It's a little bit sweet. It's I just love this cigar. It's very dynamic in my opinion.
I like your description though. Peppery, earthy, and a little bit sweet. Yeah, it's almost a lot. Well, mine's almost a lot sweet. I don't know if these ones that were in that gift set were aged a little more. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
They could be. Yeah, I think pepper is like the dominant thing that I get out of it. That's why I say a little sweet, but the sweetness is definitely there.
Will?
Definitely got the pepper up front. The sweetness came in that second third. It seemed like the sweetness started to emerge.
Yeah.
I can't put my finger on what the sweetness is. It's not a cedar sweet spice. It's not a caramel sweetness. I'm trying to put my finger on what it is, though, but it's very good. It's not killing me with nicotine. I thought this was going to be a nicotine bomb, and it's not killing me with nicotine either.
Yeah, they're really not overly powerful. Like you'd expect a KNF.
They're not strong, but they're very full flavor.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really digging mine.
I mean, I don't think I'm like overestimating here at all. I think I've probably smoked close to 30 of these. Probably one of the cigars I've smoked the most over the past year and a half or so since these come out. I think they were extremely well done.
I agree.
Yeah, I was indifferent on some of the larger ring sizes of this, but the Lancero is surprising me a lot, and I know why it's gotten high praise. It's very good in this Vitola.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't smoked one of these, Will.
Yeah, so I just never got to it.
I hear you, but you have a very diverse smoking range. You smoke everything, man. I was glad we found ones you hadn't smoked yet. It's good.
Yeah, thanks.
So speaking of what we've been smoking, Will, why don't you take us through what you've been smoking?
All right. I'm going to start off with a Lou Rodriguez cigar like I did last week. This is the Lou Rodriguez Edition Premier. This is one of Lou Rodriguez's first cigars. And folks who aren't familiar with Lou Rodriguez, he is a cigar maker based out of North Carolina, so he's kind of close to home for me. He's a vertically integrated company, so he's got his own farms, he's got his own factory, he's got his own distribution. Not a huge company, so he does have limited production. But the Edition Premier is a box press Maduro, and if you've ever met Lou, he loves box press Maduros. In fact, he has 2 different box press Maduros in his line. The Edition Premier is, I'd say, it's a little more mellow than his other one, which is the Edition Reserva. But in my opinion, it's the best. It's one of the best cigars he makes, if not the best one. It has a San Andreas Maduro wrapper, a Nicaraguan binder, Nicaraguan filler, and I'm going to talk about a little more about San Andreas with another one of my smokes. But this is a good case where San Andreas works real well because the wrapper, I find San Andreas could get very pungent at times, and in this case,
Will, what's the San Andreas?
It's a Mexican.
It's Mexican wrapper. Yeah, we were talking
Mexican.
about that earlier today.
It's
Yep.
probably more popular now than the Connecticut broadleaf. You see it in a lot of stuff right now. But I think the first thing I remembered on was the Murcielago.
There's a lot of people embracing it, and I think it's hit or miss.
I agree with that.
And there's cases where it miss, and I just find if it's not blended right, there's a lot of pungency that can come out of that wrapper, and it can hurt the flavor profile.
Hey, when you say pungency, one thing that comes to mind for me with that wrapper is a barnyard smell. And is that what you're referencing when you say?
I'm talking more of a sharper spice.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm talking. It's not necessarily a harsh spice, but it's a sharp spice where you can almost like cut it with a knife, I guess is the way to put it.
I think one that I remember that really sticks out for that barnyard is the Tatuaje did the Mexican experiment. You remember?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I remember opening up those bundles when they came in with Stogie Santa and just being like, how remarkably forward in the aroma was that barnyard smell. But yeah, no, I like it. It's a good wrapper when it's done right.
Yeah, yeah. With this Lou Rodriguez, he did it right. If you're gonna smoke Lou Rodriguez, I smoked the Bon Bon, which is his basically his Petite Corona, which is 4 3/4 by 42. It's a classic Maduro. It's espresso, black cherry, pepper, leather. It's got that natural Maduro sweetness. It's not going to overpower you with strength. The quality is just top notch. If what I tell folks is if they want to give Lou Rodriguez a try, this is the cigar I'd start with because it's really it's one of his best cigars. It's box worthy in my book. It's a go-to cigar, and this size is, I think, the perfect size with it as well.
Nice, very nice. I smoked the Viaje Satori Karma, the Robusto, based on what Will said basically last week was that, he liked the Robusto size much better, and I did too. This one, I don't know if it was because I traveled with it, and I was on travel this week, so my cigar list is not what it usually is in terms of selection or depth, right? Because I was in Washington D.C. Monday through Wednesday of this week, so. But the wrapper I find on the Satori line is very, very thin. Will, do you remember what that wrapper is?
Well, let me just ask a question. It's a 2010 you're smoking, right?
Yes, I'm sorry. It is the 2010. Yes, correct.
So that is that double Oscuro wrapper, and that is a wafer thin wrapper.
Yeah.
It is very fragile.
I would not travel with these. Now, I did put them in my travel humidor and stuff, but I think the pressure and temperature changes that it had to go through, it did not fare well with that wrapper. I think you smoked this in a very controlled environment,
Yeah, I mean, I tend to I really love that cigar. I tend to smoke it at home.
Yeah.
But that was my big drawback. That almost was my cigar of the year in 2010. And one reason why it wasn't was because the wrapper was just fragile, and I've had cracking on it. If I just kind of drop it on the table the wrong way sometimes. So it was very, very sensitive.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. The flavors were awesome, though. I mean, what flavors I could get from it, because it did have some issues, but the flavors were really awesome. Very smooth, very sweet, not too earthy. Like some of the Viaje stuff tends to have that really heavy earth to it.
I agree.
This is not like that, and I really do like them. I'm going to smoke some more. I think I may have a few more. The ones from 2010 are getting really hard to find.
They use that Criollo wrapper, and I think that's they tend to be a little earthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They use that Criollo a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
This one wasn't overpowering. Mark Jr., I know you had kind of an off week, too, because you were doing a little bit of travel as well.
I did. We had a company outing starting Friday morning in Portland, Maine. I smoked a lot of cigars, but it would be unfair for me to review a lot of them. I was in an altered state for most of the weekend.
You can review a lot of different mixed drinks that you had, from what
which
you've told me.
also, kind of affected me Monday and Sunday and Monday, and then I got, maybe it led into this cold that I'm having right now as well. So I didn't really write up a lot of stuff, but I'll tell you one thing. On Saturday, I smoked cigars. I played golf like a boss, right? I started the day off with a Avo 85th. Then I had
While you were golfing, mind
while I
you.
was golfing, because I'm not a good golfer. I don't have to pay attention to the golf. I
Yeah.
could pay attention to the
To the
cigars,
cigar.
right? Yeah. So I had the Avo 85th. Then I had a Paul Grammarian Salomon, and then I had a 1964 Pyramid.
These are not cigars that most people would smoke while golfing.
Golf course, yeah.
But I'll
It's an
tell you
all-star
what,
lineup.
I was in a golf cart, and like I said, I suck, and it was a best ball tournament. So again, I would just I was really smoking cigars and hitting golf balls as opposed to hitting golf balls and smoking cigars.
I gotcha. Priorities.
Yeah, and it was fun. I got to really talk about the brand a lot while I was out there with some of my coworkers because some of them ended up being very big cigar smokers and passing out some cigars and really starting to network with the new company that I'm with. So
nice.
It's
cigars are a great way to do that.
No, I was just gonna say that, man.
Yeah.
It really is. If you get around some guys that really like cigars, it's a good conversation opener.
Absolutely.
That kind of thing. And I got to share them with some VPs too, so that's not such a bad thing either.
Yes, very nice, very nice.
So,
Will, back to you.
So, all right, I'm going to go with on the other end of the Mexican wrapper side, and I smoked a pre-release of the new Nestor Miranda Special Selection Exclusivo Regional. This is a limited production regional release for the Midwest. I want to thank Miami Cigar for sending me this. It's using a San Andreas wrapper over Nicaraguan binder and filler. I smoked it. It's going to be box pressed in two sizes. One is a Robusto Extra, which I smoked, which is a 5.5 by 54, and there's also a 6 by 60 that's coming out. Now, last year, Nestor Miranda came out with the Dano 2012, and I think Barry talked a little about it last week rather, and that was a home run. I just loved the way that wrapper worked on the Dano, and it was just one of those things where it just worked well with the blend. This one, I had all the kind of things I don't like about Mexican tobacco. I had that espresso flavor, coffee cream, and citrus from a Maduro, but there was this sharp, pungent spice, and it wasn't a young cigar. I didn't feel the cigar was young. It's that sometimes when I get that from the Mexican, it's that heavy spice, which it wasn't in my wheelhouse. Now, I've read some other folks who smoked this and did like it. So this may be a personal perception. From my point of view, I didn't rate it because I don't believe in rating a pre-release. It's probably going to be a try one in the end. I'll see what age does to it. I'm just not confident age is going to kind of tame that spice down a bit.
Interesting. Yeah, because you said you didn't pick up youngness in it. It was just flavors you weren't fond of.
Yeah. We were talking about what is a young cigar, and sometimes you get that spice, but that's a little more of a harsh spice. This is just, like I said, I've seen it happen, with Mexican wrappers where it does that. I'll look at like what Casa Fernandez does and Dion, what Illusione's doing with Maduros, and they're nailing it. They're just bringing it home. We were talking to Stogie Sander about the Illusione Singularity 2012, which uses the San Andreas wrapper. So I know what it's capable of, and I'm not a hater of Mexican tobacco.
Really? That's a San Andreas wrapper with that? The Singular?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yep.
Interesting.
All Dion's Maduros are San Andreas.
And I believe the last couple Oliva limited Maduros have been the San Andreas as well.
Yeah.
And those have been very good as well.
Yeah, so it can work. It's just I'm not ready to say this is the greatest wrapper, to come along in years. It's just I think you have to work with it. I think it does require some work, and I think it's also personal. It's personal feeling too with it, where sometimes it hits your tongue differently than other people. So I don't think it's a bad cigar. Very well made. I'd encourage you to try one and make your own opinion on it.
Excellent. I smoked a Padron 1964 anniversary. Now, I thought this was a TAA release. Do you guys know about the TAA? I was reading a little bit about the Padron 64 anniversary TAA, which is a Tobacconists Association of America, right?
Correct.
And so Padron made a cigar that they only released to retailers that were part of TAA. And I was very excited to smoke it. Now, I was at a cigar bar in D.C., which I will give props to. That is the Shelley's Back Room, which is right
I
in
see
downtown.
the menu back there.
Yeah, right in downtown D.C. Great place. There's a place in D.C., if you're staying in downtown D.C., it's not that far from really anything, right? I actually stayed at the Washington Hilton where Will, do you know what the Washington Hilton is famous for?
No.
It's the hotel outside of where Reagan was shot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. A lot of history in the city. It's very, very cool city to visit. I'm sure a lot of our listeners are from
It's
there.
one of my favorite cities in America. That's where I proposed to my wife, actually.
It's really
I proposed
cool.
to her right at the bottom of the steps
Yeah.
of the Lincoln Memorial at the reflecting pool there.
Yeah, like wherever you are.
Where there's also been a tremendous amount of American history.
Yeah,
there,
American
you know?
history. Exactly. So what a better town to go have a meal, a drink, and a cigar in, and you can do all that in Shelley's back room. It's a big place. We were there on Monday night, and Monday Night Football was happening, and there were still, plenty of seats to go around. It wasn't overly packed. We didn't have to wait. And they had this TAA on the menu. Now, it was $29.95 on the menu, right? I mean, the cigars are pricey there, as is a lot of places like that where you can eat, drink, and smoke. But my bill said it was $22.95, so I'm thinking they might. Now, the way you order a cigar there is they give you a menu and they go get it for you and bring it to you. So I didn't actually pick it myself. So I don't know if I got the same cigar or not. Maybe someone can tell from the picture. I don't think Padron put in different from the pictures I saw. They didn't put a different band on it. It was a Toro size cigar, or a 5x56. They say they released for the TAA version. I don't know if I got that size or not. In any case, that's why I put a question mark next to it. In any case, the cigar I got, which size seemed to be a little off now that I think about it, it was awesome, the one I smoked. And I don't smoke a lot of the 64 Maduro anymore. I smoke a lot more of the 26 Maduro and Natural. This was just abundance of flavor, cocoa, sweetness, awesome balance. I would buy a box of these and keep them around for sure. This gets a box-worthy rating. It was just simply awesome. Have either of you guys smoked the TAA release from Padron?
I have not, no.
I have not either.
Yeah, maybe one we want to actually seek out, because I think it's kind of interesting.
Cool.
To have a Padron, but
I like that the companies have been doing that more.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I think Padilla had one.
Yep.
And then
Tatuaje
is now rounding. I think they're going to start shipping their third release of that, which seems to be annual now.
Mm-hmm.
And those have all been very good. But I also like that they're supporting, the brick and mortar with those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and those are TAA. You can't get them if you're not a TAA shop. So it's kind of one of the perks they have as a group to have buying power, and it's one of the perks they get being part of the TAA.
Excellent. Will, back to you.
Smoked a new cigar that just got released that was launched at IPCPR. It's by Altadas. It's the Vega Fina Sumum Edición Especial 2012. Now, folks may have heard of the Sumum. There was a Sumum 2010. This is the 2012 version. It has a similar blend profile in terms of Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Connecticut broadleaf binder. Fillers Dominican, Nicaraguan, and Peruvian. And the difference is that the Sumum 2012 is a 5x56 ring gauge, which I believe this 2010 was a 54 ring gauge. So this is a little bigger, and it's using a crop of tobacco from 2012. Both the Sumums were originally released to Europe first before being released in the U.S. I liked the Sumum 2010 a lot, actually. It wasn't it was more of a mild to medium strength cigar, medium bodied. This one, I'd say, is a little stronger. It's more medium strength, and the flavors are medium to full. Had some good flavors, pepper, wood. It had a nice lemon sweetness to it, which is what I also got on the 2010. And I thought there were more flavor nuances on that 2010 as opposed to the 12, but the 12 was still pretty good. It's got a little bit of a higher price tag, $8.50, but I still think it's worth a $5. I liked it. It was an entertaining smoke, to quote my friend Seth from Seth's Humidor. It was entertaining enough for me.
Yeah, I like that description a lot, because a lot of times you can't always kind of pinpoint what you liked about it, but entertaining certainly sums it up nicely. I agree with Seth.
Yeah, and I want to give Seth props. He is just does a tremendous job on his website, Seth's Humidor.
Fantastic blog.
Yeah, yep.
Let's see. Back to me. So I started off. This was again at the Shelley's back room. I started off the evening with an Oliva V Robusto. This was actually gifted to me 6 months ago for the birth of my son. And many of you know this blend, right? It's very popular. It's probably a regular smoke for a lot of people. I mean, the Oliva V blend is it's a staple in a lot of people's humidors.
Price point's not bad either.
Price point is great. It's Nicaraguan Puro, and it delivers some nice spice and pepper up front. It's not a harsh spice, and it's not like a pepin spice. It's a very distinct kind of spice, maybe of like a mild black pepper, I'm going to call it. It's deep and rich in flavors, and it finishes very strong. It's not overpowering in the nicotine, but it's a very strong, bold profile.
I agree with that.
Especially in this Robusto size, I really picked up on that. Some of the larger sizes, it's not as deep and rich and bold, or maybe I would say not as bold in the larger sizes. This smaller side really packed a nice punch, but with not being overpowering on the nicotine side. I really liked it. I'm saying fiver. It's a great smoke. It was a little too bold for me to have kind of like before dinner. I'd recommend this as an after dinner type smoke, but I liked it.
I'll say this: in this blend particularly, as the smokes get smaller, they get better.
I agree.
Yeah, the Lancero is very good,
The Corona.
and the Corona's
The Corona, which you can't really find. Yeah, it's not a
Fantastic.
regular
I know.
one, but yeah. I really like the really large size in the Oliva V as well.
Yeah, that Corona was the number 4. That was the one. I think it was originally a European release, and it might have gone TAA. I'd have to double check that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They get them at Mr. J's from time to time.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Jr., do you have any other smokes you want to talk about?
It wouldn't be fair.
It wouldn't be fair.
Yeah, I'll say this. I did smoke both of the Illusion Singulaires that were released last year, the 2011 and the 2012.
Now,
and
did just one of those come with a paper wrapper on it, like the
The
Yeah.
Maduro
tissue
did,
paper?
which I believe is the 2012,
Okay.
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was kind of cool. The boxes are labeled Alpha and Omega, right? And what he did is the 11 got pushed back so far that he decided to put them both out at the same time. You got boxes of 15, and depending on which box you got 8 and 7 of each one.
I gotcha.
Now, I'll tell you what, these cigars did a role reversal on me. When they first came out, I thought the Natural was better and that the Maduro wasn't as good. Now, about a year after they've come out, I completely flipped my assessment. The Natural kind of lost some steam for me, but the Maduro is beautiful. It's a beautiful cigar. It's very, very well balanced. It's got that San Andreas wrapper, as Will had already mentioned, and it's one of the better examples of that. It's nice and sweet. It was just a very good cigar. Now, granted, I was kind of drinking while I was smoking them, so
Kind of drinking.
yeah. So again, it wouldn't have been fair for me to put up a real full assessment on it, but just the experience of the two of them, I definitely enjoyed where the Maduro's at now in comparison to the Natural.
Excellent. Will, back to you.
Smoked the La Flor Dominicana mystery cigar.
Now, Will, are these hard to come by, or the name is just speaking to the mystery of the blend?
It's a two-pronged thing. There is a mystery to the blend. They don't disclose any information of the blend other than a Maduro wrapper, but it's an event-only cigar.
Okay.
So the idea is they're only going to show up at events for sale at those events.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous.
I heard about these.
I'm kind of jealous of your list this week, Will. You got a few things on there I really want to try. This is one of them.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, if there's a La Flor event that happens, I will make sure to send some up your way because this is a very good cigar. It's a Lonsdale, 6x44, and it's one of those things that I like to say it's that perfect storm where the blend comes together really nice with the size.
They don't make hardly any Lonsdales anymore.
Yeah.
I know they had some smaller sizes way back when, but now they've really gotten away from a lot of those sizes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're making the diggers and things like that, so they kind of got back to a more traditional size with this one. I've heard that they're kind of one reason why they did the mystery cigar with the events is they're kind of testing the waters with this. I can't confirm that, but that's what I've heard. But great cigar, great Maduro, coffee, chocolate flavor. It's got some pepper and earth in there. It's a full-strength, full-bodied cigar, so it's strong. You're not going to give this to a novice there. When I had this back in March and I reviewed it, I had a few of them, and the drawers were tight. Now, when I smoked it this week, This was from a different event batch and much better. I didn't have any drawer issues, so it was really good. Worth a box split in my book. $8.50 price point, but definitely worth the box split in my book.
This is something I've wanted to try since they announced it back when they did.
Me too.
So
I smoked a Davidoff Nicaraguan short Corona.
Oh, I want to hear about this one.
Oh, wow. Is this a good cigar, man?
That's what I wanted to hear about, yeah.
Yeah, the 10-year-old Nicaraguan Havana Seed Rosado. Mark Jr. reviewed this either in the last show or the previous show. It's a short Corona, 3.75 by 46. I loved it. It was just wonderfully smooth. It was very interesting to me because it had that Davidoff style to it with the Nicaraguan kind of flavor profile, which to me was almost like a marriage made in heaven, man. Like, these are just really, really enjoyable to smoke. It was almost dangerous for me to smoke this, right? Because they're expensive. They're like $10 for a short Corona. And I could see myself smoking these a lot because it was that unique of an experience. It was a unique presentation of Nicaraguan tobaccos for me.
is this the first Nicaraguan you smoked?
Davidoff Nicaraguan. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What did you think of the wrapper on this cigar?
Yeah, so usually, and I think you may have said this, right? You look at my picture of it and your picture of it. It's a very smooth wrapper. It's not really dark in color, right? It's a Habano wrapper in my mind, in terms of color and smoothness, right? And usually a Nicaraguan wrapper's got a lot more veins and bumpiness to it,
Some tooth to it.
some
and
tooth
things
to
like
it.
That, yeah.
This did not. It
I
was-
know.
Yeah.
I was completely taken back by that, as a matter
Yeah.
of fact. I remember, like, cutting it, putting it in my mouth, and being like, holy crap. I've literally never had a Nicaraguan wrapper
Yeah.
that is this perfect.
And it delivers in the flavor department.
Absolutely.
And I find the complexity to be very, very wonderfully done in this cigar. It made lots of different subtle change-ups throughout that, as you said before, kept me very entertained.
This is going to be something that's going to show up on a lot of people's top 10 for the year,
I
I
think so.
Yeah.
And now, my draw was a little snug on this one because this came from that batch I talked about last week, right, that had those temperature and humidity issues with it. And I only let it rest in my humidor. So after I did the, freezer-refrigerator thing, I put it in my humidor for about 24 hours and I smoked one. I didn't wait the full week or two to kind of let it rest in my humidor.
You
So
got antsy, didn't you?
I got antsy because I really wanted to smoke one, and I'm glad I did because I thought it was really, really awesome. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. And I'll tell you what, I'll talk about another one that's not on my list. Probably tops out at my smoke of the week is when I was in D.C. I brought a Paul Gamarian Reserva Exclusiva, the Corona.
Oh,
My God. This is like better than I remember. It was just so, every puff was so flavorful. And this one had a lot of age on it as well. It was just so good. I really, really enjoyed that from start to finish. It was probably one of the more flavorful cigars I've smoked in some time, and that blend is very, very special. We've talked about it a lot.
ad
And I tell you
nauseum
what,
almost on this show.
it keeps up with all that age that it's got on it, and as much as we've talked about it, it still stands out as one of my smokes of the week.
Completely
for sure.
agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Will, back to you.
Okay, my next smoke was the Camacho Diploma, the new re-release for 2013. I smoked the Gordo, the 6x60, and I wanted to try this cigar, but this was really the only size I could get my hands on. But I don't mind the 6x60, so I didn't really have an issue with it. Now, of all the reblends of the Camachos, the Diploma underwent the most reblending. So this is really a blend from the ground up. The old one was a Honduran Puro. This is more of a multinational blend. It's got Ecuadorian Habana 2000 wrapper. They say authentic Corojo Ligero, so I'm assuming that's Honduras. They have Corojo and Criollo. Corojo Ligero is the binder. Corojo and Criollo Ligero in the filler, as well as Dominican Ligero in the filler. It's a 1250, so it's a pricey cigar. This one, I know we were talking about bold, Camacho and bold, and I know we kind of get into it saying Artie's cigar is really bold. This one's a bold one. It's full strength. It had more strength than I'd say body, but the equilibrium wasn't too far off. A lot of coffee flavors that this cigar delivered, along with some earth notes and pepper. But I mentioned it definitely has a little more strength. The one interesting thing, and I smoked a couple of these, they burned real fast. In fact, I smoked one Tuesday night. I had an 8 o'clock conference call, and I was done with it in an hour and 15 minutes. But nothing negative about it, other than the thing it just burned fast. I gave it a 5. They make some smaller ring gauges with the 48 and the 48 Churchill and a 50 ring gauge Robusto. This blend works with the 60 fine. I think with the Robusto or Churchill, I'm really curious to see what that Habana 2000 wrapper is going to do. I think it might be better, so it could go up. I'm going to try some of those other sizes in the next few weeks. But this was a good one by Camacho.
So, Will, where'd you get this cigar?
Give props to the shop, or just the location?
It's up to you. You can say your local shop.
Yeah. I wanted this. There's a new shop. Actually, not new shop. There's a shop that just moved very close to my house called Union Cigar Company. Mm-hmm. They're in a town called Monroe, North Carolina. It's about 25 miles east of Charlotte. And they had them in the store, so I picked it up right in the shop.
This is the blend. After reading your assessment, your article that you had on these, this was the blend that I was most excited to try.
Me too, because it was so different.
Yeah, definitely.
And I love the old diplomas. It's still hard to tell if this is better than the old. Like I said, I want to try the other ring gauges because I think that blend's going to do some good things in that smaller size.
Absolutely.
I was also a big fan of the original diplomas as well.
Yeah, I like the original diplomas too.
Yeah, me too.
I smoked the Tatuaje El Triunfador, Old Man in the Sea. Now, unlike a lot of the reviews out there and stuff that's written about this, I actually smoked the Culebra from this one. I don't know for whatever reason.
I've smoked it too.
Yeah, one night I came out here in the workshop and I was in the mood to smoke a Culebra. And
smoke one of those crooked cigars.
Yeah, I was like, I'm in the mood for something a little different. And the pictures I took, I'm actually I'm kind of proud of the pictures I took. I think they came out really nice. And it's interesting. It's hard to take a bad picture of the Culebra because they're so interesting to look at. When they're all bundled together, and then you take the little string off the ends and take it out, and you're surprised that it actually lights and smokes up. This is a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper and a Nicaraguan binder and filler. It's a lot of fun to smoke this size. I think it's better when you have two of your friends, right, and you can kind of share the Culebra. And as we said before, this style of packaging and style of cigar comes from the rollers in the factory who were told they could only take one cigar home, so they started rolling 3 cigars together, so 3 for the price of 1 kind of thing. It is a weird shape, and it didn't smoke as well as some of the other Culebras that I've smoked in the past. I'd puff on it once, and I wouldn't get any smoke. Then I'd puff on it a couple more times, and I'd get a whole bunch of smokes. It's almost like the smoke got stuck like halfway through. Which was kind of weird. I do have to say that, construction issues and touch-ups aside, the flavors that were there were extremely good. And this blend is absolutely fantastic. Amazing, almost chocolatey, nutty kind of flavors that came through in this blend, especially in the finish. I mean, when I got down to the final third, it was really, really kicking into high gear in the flavor department, and I highly recommend that everyone try one. A Culebra, I can't really recommend a box or a box split or whatever. These are probably a little tougher to find as are the older Old Man in the Sea release. But, I definitely got to buy at least one of these in the gift set, right, that comes with the El Triunfador Lancero and these 3, the Culebra, tied together. Definitely going to try one of these.
We should go ahead, Mark.
I wasn't going to.
No, go ahead, Will.
I was saying we should do a Culebra smoke night on the show.
Oh, I totally agree.
That would be fun.
Yeah, we should definitely think about. Yeah, definitely plan on that.
Because it's not something you reach for all the time. Right?
Every time I smoke one, I'm amazed that they burn.
Yeah, it's a cool thing.
Right.
I think if more cigars came in this format, this format wouldn't turn me off. In other words, right?
No, definitely
I would
not.
think it would be a cool thing.
Yeah, now Pete didn't do one this year, so I'm hoping he brings back another Old Man in the Sea. And I was just hoping maybe he'd look at like Fausto or something maybe next time. Or I don't know what he would do. He did Black Label last year, so But I'd love to see him just kind of bring this back again. I know he had a lot going on with the 10th anniversary this year.
Well,
the guy kind of set up a full plate for himself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
for sure. Well, I'm really jealous at your next smoke because I really want to smoke these.
Me too.
Yeah. Okay. So, and I think I talked a little about this last week. Want to thank the folks at Smoke Inn. They sent me a pre-release of the cigar that I'm launching on tomorrow, which is the Casada Oktoberfest Dunkel. So, folks, Smoke Inn is a shop down. We talked about them. They're based in Palm Beach, Florida. They created something which is called the Microblend series, which they do basically a one-time limited release, and they team up with a manufacturer. You folks have probably heard of the Tatuai Anarchies and the Apocalypse and the Big Delicious. So this is their seventh blend that they've done. Actually, the seventh release they've done in the series, and it's the first time they've teamed up with the Casadas on this one. What they did, they always kind of do something different. They took the Oktoberfest blend and they flipped the wrapper, and they put two wrappers on it. Most of it is a broadleaf wrapper, and then on the footer they actually put a Connecticut shade wrapper, Ecuadorian Connecticut shade wrapper. So it's actually just on the footer. I know we were talking a little about that last week. Why they did that? They wanted it. Dunkel's the German word for dark lager. So they wanted it to look like a dark lager with a foam head. So the broadleaf Maduro wrapper, Ecuadorian Connecticut on the footer, same components of the binder and filler. So it's a Dominican binder and Dominican Cuban Seed Criollo, Olor Viso, and Lajero from the Dominican as well. They did one size of this, a 6x54. This is the best Oktoberfest, and I had two of these.
Wow.
This is the best. I love this cigar. Here's what's really cool about it. You start off, you get that little bit of that Connecticut shade feel at the beginning. You get that creamy with a little bit of pepper and a little bit of that citrus sweetness. Once you cross the broadleaf line, there's a drastic change, but it's a smooth change is the best way to put it. So it turns into roasted coffee, that Maduro sweetness and pepper, but yet it's still creamy. It's still got that creaminess it had at the very beginning, and it doesn't lose that. Great back nine, as Stogie Santa would say, so this cigar really closes well at the end. It has some pop. It's full strength and full bodied, so I think it may mellow a little bit over time. I'm curious to see what that. Construction's top notch on this. Did rate it because it's pre-release. All the makings of a box purchase. After smoking another one, it might go to a Chuck Norris level. It did, folks. If you guys are fans of that Smoke-In series and you like the Oktoberfest, you need to try this.
I'm excited.
Sounds like Paul and I fall into both of those categories.
Yeah, they take pre-release. They're taking pre-release orders already, I believe.
Yeah, I'll be.
They have been for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, they do a good job with that series. They really I think this is, like I said, the seventh installment. They haven't made one bad one in that series.
Excellent. I smoked in Alec Bradley Fine and Rare. This is from 2012. This is the Torpedo. It's their limited release with a bunch of different kinds of tobaccos in it, which we reviewed on the show. So this is a redo. This blend for me is very, very strange. When they released both of the Fine and Rares in 2011 and 2012, when they first came into the shop, I fell in love with each of them. Just a fantastic, complex blend with unbelievable flavors when they first came in. Now, I've gone back and smoked not just the 2012, but the 2011. As it's aged, a year, the older one for 2 years. When I go back and smoke them, they seem to miss the mark for me, which is very surprising. This cigar was actually an Oasis-level cigar for me. When I first smoked the 2012, the Torpedo, I got a pumpkin flavor from it. I got wonderful flavors. And this one did have construction issues. It wasn't a bad cigar by any stretch of the imagination, but it just didn't live up to when they first came off the truck, and which is surprising because usually as we talk, cigars get better with age or the flavors come to life for it to be a little more descriptive of it. This one doesn't do that. I almost want to say, when these Fine and Rares come in, smoke them as soon as they come in, and if for whatever reason, when these things age, they went through a try one for me. I mean, I would honestly only rate this a try one if I was smoking this for the first time. It's a very, very strange thing for me, and I want to make aging a little more of the focus here on the show as we talk about the different cigars. This is one that just didn't really age well for me, and it was extremely disappointing because I was head over heels in love with it when it first came out, and now not so much.
It was a top 20 cigar for me, that one last year as well.
Yeah.
Same thing as me. It was a home run. Now, I tended to have gotten these and smoked them because I wanted to review them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're hard to get and they're pricey. So I actually have one of these in my humidor. I think I'll go back to it.
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
I also, just from when I saw you post this today, I went and bought the 2013 today. And just from reading what you said, I'm just kind of curious because that's going back to the old 2011 blend. So I'm wondering if it's going to smoke like the 2011 off the truck, or is it going to smoke like you're saying where it's changed. I'm wondering if all that tobacco in there, when they start melding together, that's what I'm wondering is what's happening with that. Maybe.
Yes. Because they used what, like 13 different tobaccos or something in these blends.
Yeah, I mean, so if you put a lot of ingredients in, this is just me kind of off the cuff here saying that.
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting. It goes back to cooking, right? If you use too many ingredients, it tends to kind of not be good, right? It's not as enjoyable on
Once
the palate.
Once you put more ingredients in, there has to be a higher level of skill.
Yeah,
is what it is.
Yes. Yeah. And they, when it first came out, it was a home run, and now not so much. Will, back to you.
All right. So there was a lot of inspiration with this last one. You guys talked highly about it, the Tatuaje Black Label Corona Gorda 2013.
Yay.
And so I had very high expectations on this. You guys were right on the money. So it's the Nicaraguan Puro, Sun-Grown Criollo in the Corona Gorda. You guys just nailed it in terms of what you said. It was a potpourri of flavors. I got a lot of wood, nut, and pepper, and then there was this explosion of orange and chocolate and caramel flavors that just happened. You used the term candy at the beginning.
Yeah.
I kind of could see that. The orange actually was interesting. It kind of then started to taste like that mixed fruit Jello almost, but it had a tobacco feel to it. So I don't want you to think you're smoking some sort of a fruity cigar here.
Right.
But here was the real interesting thing about this. When I was looking at the strength and the body, it wasn't a very strong cigar. It was medium, but the flavors were very full. And sometimes I don't like that. I like it when the gap's a little closer. But there was such an explosion of flavors with this thing. It was that good. And I just couldn't believe what the Black Label did in the Corona Gorda format. I was blown away. Now, since normally I wouldn't do this but this is not a new blend, and it's been around for a while. I gave it an Oasis. I've smoked enough Black Label to know that this is the real deal. I smoked 2 of these right now, so it's an Oasis cigar by far. It's the best. It's the best Black Label I've had. Now, I've not had the original Corona Gorda. I'll be honest with you. I did not have that.
I have.
So I don't have anything to baseline this against. I like the Lancero. I like the Petite Lancero. But this one is, Mark, you used the term, this is the real deal. This is the real deal, guys, like Mark said. And they flew off the shelves.
Yeah.
Flew.
They went through 10 bundles in like 3 days.
We said that in the last show.
3 days. Yeah. It was incredible.
They're sold out.
Yeah, the last 3 that I got are going to 3 other guys, unfortunately, and I love you guys, but I should have not done that.
No. The best part about this is that there's going to be plenty of these out there for people to get.
There will. In fact, there was one guy I know who was on a witch hunt for these. He was calling every place he knew that had Tatuaje.
They're gonna. I mean, there's 190,000 cigars.
Jar.
That are still to come.
They're still to come. The jar releases. So there was only 10,000 cigars in the bundle. 19,000 cigars in the bundles.
Yeah.
There was 500 bundles of 19, I thought.
Yeah, there was a limited.
Right.
I talked to our local Tatuaje rep today, in fact, and he confirmed that the bundles are a much more limited release than the jars will be.
Here was the interesting thing. There were a lot of Tatuaje. My friend who was calling up for these, he discovered something very interesting. There were not a lot of retailers that were aware of this.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how it was communicated. Maybe it wasn't communicated, but there were a lot of people that were just saying, really, they're out already? I thought the jars are coming out. And so that was a big surprise who got them and who didn't.
Well, I think I think you had to rub some elbows to get the bundles. To be honest, with you.
I'm sure you had to be a good Tatuaje customer, yeah. But there were a couple of big shops that carried Tatuaje that were unaware that these were coming.
This cigar is just.
Put it this way: if your shop got 10, that represents 2%
Yeah,
of the entire release of the bundles. So that's a significant allotment for you to get at one shop. You know, so I think that this had to be like a you had to rub the right elbows to get them.
You know, there was so much attention on the Brown Label 10th anniversaries. This one really just this is Pete, and I think the two best cigars Pete's done this year are the Apocalypse and this one. I have not had the Cojite, and I'll put the Noelas in that, the Noelas Reserva in that too.
Yep.
I have not had the Cojite yet, and it's sitting in my humidor. But yeah, I mean, this one is
Smoke that.
Yeah. I want to smoke it like when I'm not distracted, basically.
That's a good call.
Because I only have one of them. That's why.
There was a couple of listeners that smoked these as well, and held it in very high regard. So you know, it's not. Just
I haven't heard anyone say anything bad about it.
It's not just us beating our own drums. I mean, to me, this is everything a cigar should be. You know, and I don't think there's any more of a higher rating we could give a cigar, and we don't do that for every cigar. I think we're very fair in our ratings. Whether we're giving it everything from a no rating all the way up to an Oasis, I think we're very fair. And it hands down from the crew. I mean, I gave it an Oasis. Mark Jr. said fight Chuck Norris for it.
The only reason why I say that is because there's stuff left in this cigar to get better.
Yeah,
I think it's fair. I think it's fair too.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And now Will's giving it an Oasis rating. It doesn't get any better for that for a cigar. And between all of us, right? Here on Stogie Geeks, you know, Tim and Stogie Santa included, we smoke a lot of different cigars, and we take our ratings very seriously. So to hold a cigar in this high regard, man, this is something special.
Yeah, I don't like to throw that Oasis around.
I don't throw the Oasis around.
No, I don't either. In fact, just to let Paul and I talked about it, but the Stogie Geeks ratings are coming to Cigar Coop on October 1st.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah, so there'll be. And I equate Oasis to more, I called it historic, and usually I waited about a year before doing that. The only reason why I kind of exception to the rule is the Black Label's been around for a while.
Yeah.
So I know what this blend's capable of doing, and in this size, it was a real deal.
The one thing that I will say about this, and it's an obvious thing, and I don't know if, Will, you experienced this, but when you first light it up, you get a really nice explosion of flavors when you first light it up.
Right from the jump.
And I think that's obviously, and I can't believe we didn't say this before, right? But that's due to the closed foot, is you're getting the wrapper, right? Flavors as soon as you're lighting it up.
A blast of it right away.
You're getting a blast of it right as you're lighting it up. And
it even had a good dry drawer with the closed foot. I mean, I got a nice dry drawer from that, even though the foot was closed. There was flavors on that dry drawer.
Mm-hmm. Making me just want to light one up now.
It's going to take discipline to age these.
It is a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
I smoked a La Roma de Cuba Edición Especial Robusto, which is my last smoke on the list. I sent a box split these with a friend, and that's because these are so versatile. This is a great blend. We've talked about it on the show before. I didn't want to spend too much time talking about it. It's produced by the Garcia family. It's just a great, easygoing smoke. I do have some intermittent construction problems with this, but for the most part, they smoke great, and it's a nice, mild, medium smoke, great flavors, touch of spice, and something you can smoke really anytime during the day. I don't know if I'd smoke these at night because the strength profile is more of a medium bodied, but it's just a great, easygoing smoke. We talk about, regular production cigars that you can get at a reasonable price. This is one that really hits home for me. I think these are great. Have you smoked these, Will?
Yeah, I wasn't as wowed by them, to be honest with you, because I guess when the Mi Amors and the Mi Amor Reservas came out, I just really were much more. I'd reach for those first. It's not a bad cigar; it's a good cigar, but I think the Mi Amors and the Mi Amor Reservas just take it to another level.
See, I don't know if there's too much like a earthy kind of component to those Mi Amors and Reservas that I tend to reach for this blend more. It kind of fits my flavor profile a little more.
Well, that's fair, right?
I think it's fair. I think it's fair. Yeah.
Let's see. So we have a contest from last week that we're still waiting for submissions for. So Barry Stein came on the show. We asked a question. Go listen to last week's show. I think we'll post also the question to our respective social media outlets as well to garner some support. Barry wants to send you a gift pack of Añoranzas, including that limited Corona release as well. So, please do participate in that. There is no contest for this week, but wanted to mention that we're still waiting for submissions for last week's contest as well. Of course, we've got fantastic shows for you coming up. Our schedule is full until the end of the year. I want to mention a very special show that we're going to have on October 25th with Wings for Warriors. Please visit wingsforwarriors.org. Make a donation to charity. We've decided to support our wounded combat veterans and a very special charity that supports them as well. So a very special episode on October 25th at lunchtime. So Friday, October 25th, make sure you tune in at lunchtime to the Stogie Geeks, where we'll be celebrating and supporting in a very patriotic sense, right, our wounded veterans. So that'll be a fun show as well. We were trying to get a special guest lined up for that episode as well, so make sure you stay tuned. We've got guests for the most part for almost every episode from now to the end of the year. So continue to listen to Stogie Geeks for that. Regular members, our new member Will, included in, as well in that, and we're very excited about the partnership between Stogie Geeks and Cigar Coop going strong. Make sure you check out our respective Facebook and Twitter accounts, as we're always tweeting and Facebooking, posting all of the stuff that's happening with the show. So, any closing thoughts, guys, for this episode? Anything that I missed?
Just I think for the listeners, there's no show next week, right? I think there's no show next week. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you, Will.
Right.
There is no show next week. I will be traveling to an event for my day job, so there will be no show next week. It's one of the few.
You have a day job?
I have a day job, I know.
Come on.
I wish I could just sit around and smoke cigars and call that my job. But I do have a day job, which next week there is no show. And I think the only other time after that there is no show is the week after Christmas. So I think this is the only break we take from now to the end of the year. And like I said, we've got a fantastic lineup. So make sure you stay tuned. Also,
we have some. Yep.
Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I think, and we have a real special guest when we come back. So we'll kind of tease that one out there.
Who is that? If it's confirmed, we can say it on the show.
Jose Blanco.
Yeah, Jose Blanco is our guest 2 weeks from now when we come back to record in the studio. I'm glad you pointed that out, Will.
Yeah.
Very excited. I've met Jose personally once. Fantastic guy. Have you met him personally as well, Will? I'm sure you have.
Yeah, I've met him several times, and he's real. Just like I call him the king of all social media. And when you meet him in person, he's as genuine as he is online. That's gonna be a show you guys don't want to miss.
Absolutely. That's 2 weeks from now.
Yep.
You can watch the show live, stogiegeeks.com/live. I recently redid the live section for this show. So if you go to stogiegeeks.com/live, you'll actually stay on our site, be able to watch the show live and chat. So we've embedded those components in our site and make it easy for everyone. When we're not broadcasting live, you get like a little slideshow. So if you see a slideshow of various things, that means we're not broadcasting live. But you'll be able to chat and watch the show live. I know Thursday night's football season, but you're not going to want to miss our show 2 weeks from now. And don't forget to join the CRA, Cigar Rights of America. Support the Cigar Rights of America and our rights to smoke fabulous cigars. One last bonus cigar that I did smoke is the Rocky Patel. What's the anniversary one from Rocky Patel, Will?
Several. The white label, the 226.
Yeah, the one with the Roman numerals on it.
Yep, the 226. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I liked it too. I thought it had a lot of complexity, actually.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. That might be one of Rocky's best releases I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I smoked a few of his releases. It's a pricey cigar, limited cigar, but again, it's got a great flavor profile, a little earthiness to it, that Rocky Patel style, but with a lot of complexity and a lot of subtleties to it.
Really did.
Yeah, so very good job there. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will see you on the next episode of the Stogie Geek Show. Thanks, everyone. Oops, that's not the right music. Wait. Okay, here we go. Thanks, everyone.
There we go.